In general, don't want to disappoint their parents. They look up to their parents. They don't want their parents to think less of them. So they step up, try to be as perfect as they possibly can so that their parents don't have issues. They become that perfectionist, and we know that that doesn't exist. And so how much pressure is that on a kid, an adolescent who's trying to find their way in the first place? They're trying to figure out their identity, but they don't want their parents to be burdened by whatever they're going through. So it's the idea that they need to protect their parent.
And I think that's something for a parent, right? And I know we say at MH3 a lot is about getting curious and starting to watch these behaviors with curiosity.
Definitely. And it's not just about that. It's about really communicating in a healthy way with your kids. And I actually created an acronym too. And the acronym LOVE. So first of all, we really need to listen to our kids. And listening involves more than our ears. Really, it involves our eyes. We need to really observe, look at their body language, look at their affect. Because when you ask teenagers, how you doing, how you feeling, what do you get? Fine. Right? Always fine.
Yeah, always.
But you can look at them and you can tell that that's not the case. So really being able to listen and feel, because emotions are more of a universal language than the fact that we might be speaking the same language. So listen. The second letter O comes from the O in communicate. So being able to communicate our feelings in a way that we can connect. And most of the time when people come into therapy, and I ask them, as a family, how well do you communicate your feelings? Well, the kids will say to them, I know how to communicate my feelings. I do that real well. But the fact of the matter is, they're actually usually communicating a belief or a thought. So they'll say, well, I told my kids, well, I just feel like you don't care about me when you don't do the chores. But if you listen to that statement, there's no feeling expressed. Mm-hmm. Right? And so we can get into all kinds of disagreements, arguments, resentment, all those things when we're not really communicating our feelings. Mm-hmm. But if we said, hey, I'm really feeling hurt, or I'm feeling disappointed because I wish that you would help me out with this, that's a different way of connecting. So learning how to communicate. The V in love stands for validate. Okay, lots of parents, and I'm not saying anybody that's listening to us, of course, but lots of parents have a really hard time validating their kids' emotions and feelings because I'm the parent, right? You need to do as I say, not as I do. Kids are humans too, though. And we need to give them the ability to have emotions. Those are the bodily sensations that we have. Translate them to feelings and validate. And now, we think about this year and think about the last few years and all the traumas that we've been exposed to. Kids have seen the news. They've heard things from other kids. They've been traumatized. And if we can't hear, feel, and validate what they're trying to tell us, how important do they believe that they are? Do they feel judged? Do they feel guilty? Do they feel ashamed? because my parents won't validate and give me permission to have my own emotions and my own feelings. In the end, we want to empower them because I tell parents this all the time. We say that we're raising children. We're really not raising children. We're raising adults, right? And so to be able to raise a child that feels safe, you've created this foundation of safety for them to be able to do all of these things that I just talked about, to be able to express themselves not only to you, but to friends, to everybody that they meet, is going to be real empowering because it's also going to help them to set healthy boundaries. So if we can remember that acronym of love, that's what we want to give our kids. That's what our foundation is for the adults that we're raising, that will eventually be the leaders in this world.